Hello, Christ Church family. You know, ever since we've had more people watching the live stream of our worship service, we've noticed that something that happens every once in a while. Sometimes on Sunday morning, there are so many people on the internet at the same time that the webcast will freeze up or look jumpy. And we asked about that, and we were told it's an issue of bandwidth, that the internet can only handle so much information at one time, and when there's an overload of data being processed, things don't work as well. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, you know, that bandwidth kind of works with our emotions as well. If we think about our ability to cope with things on an emotional level, and let's say we had a bandwidth from 1 to 10, I think that might give us some insight as to why some people react to things the way that they do. So if our most highest bandwidth is at 10, we want to keep our number as low as possible. I would say most of our good days when we're happy and we're not feeling stressed, we're probably running somewhere between 1 to 3 on our bandwidth. We can make decisions easily, we can give and receive feedback and criticism without taking it personally or intending any harm. It's where we all like to be. When the problems of everyday life begin to pile up, things at work become more difficult, one of our children is needing more attention than they usually do, finances are a little bit tight, our bandwidth gets used up a little bit more. We end up being somewhere between 4, 5, and 6. We can still make decisions, we can still give and receive feedback, but we're tired more, we're not as quick as we normally are, we're not as relaxed as we would like to be. The critical area is when our bandwidth gets up above 7. When we're running between 7 and 10, that's when we're experiencing a really high level of stress. It's almost impossible to make decisions. We begin to lose our ability to concentrate. And when we give and receive feedback, we do it in ways that are sometimes personal and even harmful because our emotions are running that high. That's a hard place to be. I thought about our bandwidth because I think we're living in a season where some of our emotional bandwidth is just being eaten up all the time. I want you to ask yourself this question. How much does living in a pandemic take up of your emotional bandwidth? Does it take up 1 point or 2? What about politics? How much does this political season take up in terms of your emotional bandwidth? If you're highly engaged, it may take up 1 or 2 points of bandwidth. Well, think about what that means. If under normal conditions you're operating at 5 or 6, every day you add 2 to that. Now you're at 7 or 8. Now you're in that high-risk area emotionally. And so are all of the people around you. We are in a season where it's not just physical illness that we need to be watchful for. It's also emotional distress as well. Everybody is operating under a higher level of emotional distress. If you find yourself saying, I don't want to hear it anymore, or if you've got piles of work or piles of laundry or piles of bills that you don't want to deal with, your bandwidth has been eaten up. My suggestion is that we accept a few things. We're not going to be able to do things as well as we normally do while all of this is going on. And our neighbors aren't going to be able to as well. We're not always going to be as thoughtful as we'd like to be or polite. And neither are the people around us. Let's be mindful of our bandwidth and the stress that other people are under too. Because this isn't going to last forever. Things will get back to whatever passes for normal. And we want to remember that we've treated everybody with love and grace during this hard time. We look forward to having worship again this Sunday. We will be in the sanctuary 8:30, 9:45, and 11 o'clock. And of course, we will continue with our live stream service at 11. Ralph Duplessis will be preaching his first sermon for us then, and I know we are all excited about hearing that. Look forward to seeing everyone on Sunday.